A fresh cross-border operation to crack down on illegal immigrants from Vietnam. Missing Japanese boy found alive and well. And the Louvre Museum is closed as flooding hits France.
Good evening. Authorities say they have smashed a syndicate that smuggled illegal immigrants from Vietnam to Hong Kong. In a joint operation conducted by Hong Kong and Guangdong authorities, 50 people were arrested, 19 of them in the SAR. Adam Shu has our top story.
In a campaign that began on Wednesday, Hong Kong police arrested 11 people relating to human trafficking after raiding some 20 locations across the territory. 9 of those arrested, 7 Vietnamese nationals and 2 Chinese, are believed to be the syndicate's core members. The other 2 are suspected to be Vietnamese illegal immigrants. Some $100,000 of cash was confiscated. Among the other items seized, phones, documents related to the illegal immigrants' hideouts, and bank cards suspected to be used for money laundering. Authorities say each illegal immigrant was believed to have paid the smuggler 30,000 Hong Kong dollars. They entered Guangxi from Vietnam before heading to Shenzhen. From there, they were spirited into Hong Kong.
2 Vietnamese females, being the core syndicate members, have already been charged with the offense of aiding and abetting the remaining in Hong Kong without the authority of the Director of Immigration. And the other arrested persons are currently detained for investigations. At this time, the operation is still actively ongoing, and police would not rule out any possibility of further arrest.
Of the 8 others arrested locally, they are accused of, for example, employing illegal immigrants as well as overstaying their visas. According to immigration authorities, an average 112 Vietnamese legal immigrants were intercepted each month so far this year, down from 189 in 2015.
The Immigration Department attributes the drop in the number of illegal Vietnamese immigrants to Guangdong authorities stepping up their crackdown on human trafficking. The police said such cross-border operations, which have proven to be effective, will be continued. Adam Xu, TVB News.
The trial of 7 police officers accused of beating up an Occupy protester in 2014 continued today. The court heard arguments on whether footage from various media outlets should be accepted as evidence. Winna Wong has more.
The 7 police officers arrived at the district court on the 3rd day of their trial. The first witness to testify today was Station Sergeant Chang Ho-chung. Chang said on the night of the incident, he spotted 2 colleagues trying to subdue a man in black, so he went to help. The man claimed he had been hit by pepper spray, so Chang rinsed his face with water before handing him over to a group of criminal investigation officers. The prosecution then played ATV news footage of the incident. Chang said he did not recognize some of the officers in the video. He agreed the footage in question did not fully reflect what happened between him and the man in black. Another witness, Senior Inspector Wat Chin-chuk, said he helped subdue a man that night. He also agreed the ATV footage did not fully show the incident in its entirety. Several members of staff from local media also testified in court. Ed Chim was a video editor in ATV's news department. When questioned by defense lawyer Chang Hwan, Chim said the broadcast footage was edited according to the reporter's script. He could not confirm the order of events had not been switched. As for news footage from TVB, the prosecution called in news department technician Sam Ka-hung. Sam said there was nothing unsatisfactory about the video signals being sent back from field that night. He was also asked by the defense whether he knew the identities of the cameramen. Some said he did not. TVB senior librarian Lam Ka-yu was in charge of transferring the footage onto Blu-ray discs. Lam said he believes the footage had not been tampered with before he transferred them onto the discs. He added a special password would be needed to do that, and he did not know the password. A third member of staff from TVB's news department, as well as another police officer, are due to appear in court when it resumes next week. After that, Ken Sung himself will be called to testify in court. Winna Wong, TVB News.
Overseas now, a 7-year-old Japanese boy who went missing nearly a week ago in a remote part of the country has been found safe. The child disappeared after his parents tried to punish him by leaving him alone in a forest. James Aiken reports.
The missing child case riveted Japan and set off a nationwide debate about parental discipline. After nearly a week on his own in the rugged island terrain of Hokkaido, Yamato Tanaoka was discovered this morning in a building on a military base about 4 kilometers from where he disappeared. Yamato's parents first told authorities he had disappeared during a hike, but they later admitted they left him by the side of a road as punishment for throwing stones at cars and people. The boy's parents said they intended to leave him alone for just a few minutes last Saturday, but when they returned, he was gone. Yamato's father said they were only trying to teach their son a lesson, but it obviously went too far. He said they deeply regret what he called excessive discipline. The case sparked a massive search in the densely forested area, which is home to bears. Yamato was eventually discovered in this military bunker. He told soldiers he found the unlocked building after walking for several kilometers. Soldiers say he huddled between mattresses on the floor to stay warm and drank water from an outside tap. Aside from minor scratches and some dehydration, doctors say Yamato is doing well as he recovers in hospital. The boy's safe return was welcomed with a collective sigh of relief after the story topped the news for days. But it also sparked a national debate about what constitutes appropriate parental discipline and what amounts to child abuse. Police say they will not be investigating Yamato's parents, but child welfare workers say his parents might be investigated for child abandonment and neglect. James Aiken, TVB News.
Defense officials held talks in Singapore today on the sidelines of this weekend's international security conference, the Shangri-La Dialogue. U.S. Defense Chief Ashton Carter used the platform to warn Beijing about its territorial ambitions in the South China Sea and to rally support for keeping China in check. Singapore and India's defense ministers agreed to cooperate.
In a sense, all the countries of Asia are rising together, and they all make their own choices. And so I was simply saying that China, like other countries, will make its own choices.
We have to come together to cooperate, to preserve and protect our global commons, and I think that would apply to the Straits of Malacca or South China Sea or any other water body that's critical for global commerce.
We, as India is concerned, we have been always insisting that all parties should resolve this peacefully.
In Europe, torrential rains have caused rivers in France and Germany to burst their banks. At least 10 people have been killed by the flooding so far, and thousands have been forced from their homes. And the Louvre Museum in Paris is closed. Alan Booknia reports.
Paris is on high alert as the River Seine, which winds through the heart of the city, has reached its highest level in years. The warning means flooding could have a severe impact on buildings and people in the vicinity. This resident said they usually pass under the bridge over there. But right now, well, we weren't expecting this. Boat cruises have been cancelled, and a suburban train line running next to the Seine that serves popular tourist sites has been shut down. The famous Louvre Museum is closed today as artworks in rooms threatened by floodwaters are moved upstairs. Its most famous painting, Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, is staying put on an upper floor. These tourists from Turkey are disappointed they've missed the chance of a lifetime.
But unfortunately, when we came here, we saw it's closed. We didn't know that, and tomorrow we are going to leave.
The worst-hit areas are just to the south of Paris, with thousands being evacuated from their homes. This man was philosophical and preached patience. If you put things in perspective, he said, there are more dramatic things happening elsewhere. French President François Hollande blamed climate change and urged action on a world scale. In southern Germany's Bavaria state, at least 6 people were killed by the flooding and several people are missing. Thousands of homes have been cut off from electricity. Officials say flooding has affected about 160 square kilometers in an area near the Austrian border. Damage has been estimated to be at least in the tens of millions of euros. Poland and Romania have also been hit by severe flooding. Alan Brookniet, TVB News.
German police have arrested 3 Syrian men suspected of planning a terrorist attack in Dusseldorf for the Islamic State group. Prosecutors said the men were arrested in 3 different German states. The plot was thwarted by a 4th suspect who went to French police in February with the details. The plan called for 2 suicide bombers to blow themselves up in central Dusseldorf and then for other assailants to kill as many people as possible using firearms and explosives. But authorities said there's no indication they had started on concrete preparations.
And still ahead in our news, Tam-Yu Chung apologizes over special hospital treatment. The U.S. House Speaker says he'll now back Donald Trump. And the Warriors draw first blood in the NBA Finals.